Like, what do I really? I remember 3 days before I met C, I remember being in my church with my Pastor Judah, and I was talking to him, and he said something in his sermon. He said non-negotiables, and it had nothing to do with relationships. He was just talking about non-negotiables. He said the word non-negotiables. I remember going to dinner with him afterwards. I said, Judah, you said something in your sermon. I was like, it hit me, and he was like, what's that? He said non-negotiables, he said, yeah. I said, but I feel like marriage, life, everything else, like when you're trying to be with somebody, like I feel like marriage is like you gotta have non-negotiables. It's like a business. It's like a business deal. Not to be cold, but it's like we're gonna be partners for life. Like we're gonna do this. Like you gotta have your non-negotiables. He said, okay, I like that. I said, I feel like in every business you gotta have your non-negotiables. I said, let's write down 5 non-negotiables. I remember saying this at the steakhouse, and I said, let's get a napkin. I got the little napkin. I said, I'll write my 5 non-negotiables now. He said, okay, what are they? And I said, he said, why 5? I said, 5 is the number of grace. It means grace in the Bible, right? In marriage, life, you gotta have grace for one another. So someone write 5 of them. The first one was this. The first one was, I want a woman that of great faith. She's got like just great faith. She's a believer. That was important to me because believing in Jesus, all that meant a lot to me. That's number 1 thing. Number 2 was I want a woman who's faithful, not just to me, but to everything that she does. Like to anything and everything that she does. The third thing is I want a woman that was gonna love me the way my mom loved my dad. Right? Like just how my dad was on his deathbed, just like she was willing to do anything and everything for us and for him. And I think that like you want a woman that's got grit, that's gonna be there when it's thick, when it's tough, when it's hard, right, and things aren't going well, whatever it may be in life. When my dad has leg amputated or whatever it may be. I think the other thing was I wanted a woman who was independent. Didn't have to be Sierra, but like had the right identity, wanted to volunteer, wanted to be a doctor, wanted to be whatever it is. But at the end of the day, like had their own identity, didn't want to just be Russell's wife, but just like had their own identity of what they wanted to be and create and do in life. And I think the last thing was that I wanted a woman who would tilt the room. Like when they walk in the room, all the furniture slides her way. You know what I mean? Like everything slides her way.
That's a cold bar right there.